Hello, everyone, and a really warm welcome to another Courageous Conversation. My name is Pollyanna, and I look after community engagement and strategy for TreeSisters and also TreeSisters Australia. And I'm really thrilled today to be speaking with Renya Craig, who is an artist and also one of TreeSisters Artist Partners. I'm going to read you a little so that you know a little more about Renya before we begin. Hello, Renya, and a really warm welcome to Courageous Conversations.
Thank you.
So Renya has spent the bulk of her years on the Northeast Shoreline of the United States. That is until one particular day in 2012 when she experienced a spirit visitation that posed three life-changing questions. Her gut reaction answers immediately changed her trajectory. In 2013, Renya's comfortable and predictable daily routine gave way to a free-spirited gypsy lifestyle. During the next 6-year stretch, she and her journey partner lived in a 135 square foot tiny house off-grid by solar and propane in the Enchanted lands of America's Southwest. Also enjoying during the same time period an abundance of wanderlust wilderness adventures while living out of a teeny 8-foot truck camper. As of February this year, Renya is rooted in a rural home base, providing the spaciousness and resonant community setting for the seeding, tending, and flourishing of her creative expression, which matters most during this chapter in her life. So I have some big curiosity about some of that, Renya, but before we get to that, I'd really love you to share with us why it is that you are a Tree Sister.
When I first heard about Tree Sisters a couple of years ago, I was shaken because I am a tree. You are a tree. We are all walking trees. I seed, I root, I grow, I stretch, I die, and I reseed. So I've always had a strong connection with the symbolism of tree. And that was my big calling. It's like, I'm a tree. Of course I want to support trees. And I've worked with the Divine Sisterhood my entire life. And to me, the sacred kinship of the sisterhood and the reclaiming and the joining together in this powerful, powerful turning time, it's what matters most. That's why I joined Tree Sisters.
Thank you. So I would love to hear more about your life-changing questions, because it feels like that, you know, this is a courageous conversation, and part of what we're celebrating here is the courage of the women in our network, and it sounds like those questions were really calling on your courage. So would you like to share a little more about those?
Sure. So I'll go back. It's a long story. I will make it the challenge to make it short. I've always had, way back when, my first name was really Procrastinator, and I had a lot of dreams, but the dreams I did not actually walk into. I always had a secret garden belly. One day I'll do this, one day I'll do that, but they never seemed to get done. I never seemed to walk into them. And so after my fiance died in 2012, I moved back to Connecticut to my family. I was there for a number of years, and everything was just wonderful. Had an amazing place to live, had an amazing job working with horses and special needs. It was just fabulous, simple, and fabulous. And one morning, on the way to work, I had what I guess you would call an out-of-body experience of some sort. I like to preface the story saying I wasn't doing any drugs or drinking or anything like that. So it was definitely one of those, you can't really explain it, but I was suddenly in a different reality. And because I had meditated a lot way back when, it didn't scare me. It was a little odd, but I just went with the flow. And what happened was I was standing in my little one-room apartment, and suddenly everything around me disappeared. I was standing, but my routine space, my kitchen, my living room, my stove, everything was gone. And what I saw in its place was I saw large suspended images of me at different ages in my life. The next thing I know, I hear a voice. The voice was so loving. And the voice presented this question. So, what'd you think of living on the earth? Of course, I wondered, oh my gosh, I guess I'm not on the earth. What's the deal? But I answered the question. And the question was, so what did you think of living on the earth? And my answer was pretty much, there was a lot of challenges, but a lot of challenges, and a lot that was just very, very, very difficult and that I didn't like at all. But in totality, there was a lot of beauty and a lot of love, and it was okay. And I'm really glad I did it. Well, the next question, and I'm giving you the rawness of the footage here. I'm not going to taint it in any way. I'm a woman of my word. It's coming out the way it came out for the impact, because the questions are really for all of us. I've been asked to share this because it isn't just me, it's all of us. So the second question was, so Renya, did you do everything that mattered most to you while you were there? And very loudly, my truth blurted out, fuck no. That was my truth. No, I didn't. I was a procrastinator. I did not do the things that were mattered to me most. And without feeling any guilt or shame, loving voice, totally embracing, the third question was, so why didn't you? Why didn't you do the things? Why didn't you tend to the things that mattered most to you? And my answer, once again, very true and very strong, was because I was too fucking scared. And as soon as I answered those questions, I ran into the bathroom and I looked into the mirror. I went so deeply into the mirror. It was an instinctual gut instinct. I looked beyond my crone wisdom lines, and I went beyond my eyeballs, and it was like going through a canal. I'd never done it before. I felt to do it. And my soul talked to my human, Renya. And basically, the bottom line was, I was listening to my soul. You know that part of your journey on this planet has been to travel, and you've been too afraid. You've used money as an excuse, all the excuses you can think of, but you will regret if you do not leave your beautiful little life behind, your parents, everybody that loves you. And I've always been the only one that goes off, and you need to do this. So 6 months, save $1, save a couple thousand. You're going on the road. And I was told, you will have no idea where you're going. The whole point of it is to strengthen that muscle that we all were born with, I believe. Maybe not all of us, but those of us that have chosen to awake, have chosen to listen within. And the women are certainly the pioneers of that. It's part of our weaving, the way we've been put together. But it's like you are to travel, and every single day you are collaborating with the unknown. Absolutely no agenda. Where you're going, who you're going to meet. And I have to say, no timing. I did manage to raise some money from my job place. And I did manage to get a couple $1,000s, which I'm so grateful for. And I was on the road for 8 months, traveling in my car. and being led every step of the way. And it absolutely changed my life in that collaborating fully with the unknown, trusting every single moment. It's so easy to say that. We have so many books on shelves about that, but it's another thing to surrender completely and say, tell me why I'm here. Put whoever I'm to meet today for my greatest good and the greatest good of all in front of me. You're in charge, not me. And that's another reason. That's another reason I have to say it didn't only transform my life, and I've shared the story with many because it catapulted me like a cannon. And it was amazing. And it still is amazing because it changed the trajectory of my life, because other things happened after that I would never have guessed. Living on the road, living in an 8-foot truck camper. What is it like not, to have basic essentials for 6 years and nothing more? In other places of the world, that happens every day. But I needed to know what that was like. I needed to know I couldn't go in and flush a toilet and flip a switch for electricity. I had to know how precious water was in the desert living here. Very different than all the water, and you complain because it rains every day on the East Coast, It changed me and put me in this whole other vantage point to truly, what I call, go deeper in honoring spirit and loving earth. That is my aim for the rest of my life. And I feel like those two threads are asking to be woven together, be grounded enough to really love the earth, walk love on the earth, and also know that we don't live day by day, we live breath by breath. And that's becoming more and more obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. And I really could feel your words when you're talking about being in partnership with the unknown and being completely surrendered to the unknown. And I'm wondering if you'd like to speak a little more to what that's like, the actual process of being in that surrendered place and how that looks on a day-to-day basis. What does that even look like?
Well, I'll go back to, I had shared with you before the call in our prep time here, Pollyanna, that in 1997, I had another visitation from Great Mother, and I was given a formula. And I've discovered that if I remember to utilize this formula, there's magic in it. It kind of like sets the pace of, I'll say it this way. All of us, our daily routines, we're all on default to a certain extent. Our daily routines, we show up more often than not even questioning what we're going to do in the next day, because it's already set for us. We've already set, that lever. And I believe that Mother is asking us and telling us in so many ways that now is our time. And only if we listen within, first and foremost, then we go, after we've made that inner deep connection of surrender, I'm the vessel, I'm here. What are you asking of me? Because we're all being asked in different ways, and it's so easy to judge another or say, like, for instance, TreeSisters, I had to ask myself and not presume, what is my part with TreeSisters? I can't just presume, that, well, all these women are doing this through TreeSisters and I must do that too. I had to really go within and ask, what is my calling here? I am feeling called. And part of my calling is, as I continue with my particular piece that matters most to me at this time in my life, it is going out at certain times and sharing my soul inspired art that has come from my soul. And the message it carries. And as I go out, you better bet, because I'm a networker, and I am not a normal, I call myself a rainbow connector, because I'm here to unify, and I'm here to connect dots. So for me, Tree Sisters is a dot for me. And as I go forth, I am sharing Tree Sisters, because it matters most to me. And that is the question I keep asking. So going back to that formula I was given, that in the man's world, you just do. You just do. You get it done. You do it.
So true.
Well, in the woman's world, it is. And look what's happened by just doing and not asking mother, is it okay to do this? Is it okay to take out this plant and put in this one? We think we know so much. But in the feminine way, what Great Mother told me was, you go in and you surrender, and you open up completely to the wisdom within that has never left you. You just need to tap into it. You just need to surrender. And after you be in that space deep within your seed, then you come out and you do what feels right after you be. And when you be and then you do, you are in a flow. You are in a flow. And when you're in that flow, you know. It isn't a guess. It isn't I believe. You know. Be, do, flow. I'm human, and I'll get caught into the time or whatever. And I can tell you that the result is missing a huge chunk when I don't be first.
Yeah. The
It's
reason I guess
missing.
The reason I wanted to ask you about that relationship with the unknown is because it's very obvious that in these times that we live in, we're not going to fix all of the issues with the same kind of mindset that created those issues. And so, there's no way you can, sometimes I speak to my partner about what's going on in the world, and I can see him trying to think of to try and think of how to fix that.
What can I do? I gotta do something.
And what's obvious to me, and what's obvious in what you're saying, is that perhaps the only way forward is to be in that just to be in relationship with the unknown. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't even know. I mean, obviously, trees are a wonderful way to attempt to mitigate things, but we really don't know.
Oh, sure.
What the path that we're walking. And I guess it's very helpful to me anyway to hear the experiences of others who have been completely in that space of being surrendered to the unknown. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then cooperating and collaborating with it. And as I just shared this, and I haven't shared this being, doing, flowing, knowing in a long time, I've integrated it and I work with it. And it's always about remembering and forgetting, But I think the being part, now that I'm thinking about it, in my experience, the be is the respect part. Because we are just doing, I feel we're taking on that leadership role of, we've got the answers. And I'm the first to say, I ain't got no answers. None. Even if they look fabulous, I believe that maybe that's the link, that it's a reverence and a respect to surrender into, which is where we've come from. It's not outside, but if we respect the wisdom and the ancient, I always resort to the soul, because all of us walking trees and human bodies, we are so old, are so ancient. This ain't the first rodeo. This ain't first time around. And so in us, we've carried all in us, the being, we have carried forth all this lineage and all this that we've been before. And I feel that's a place that if we remember to tap into that in our own way, and it's no big deal. It's simply just the respect of that vow of guide me, mother, guide me, mother, guide me, ancient wisdom, keep me in alignment, ancient wisdom. I feel like I feel that is being a warrior, but a different kind of warrior than what the men have led. And that's no judgment against the masculine, but as the patriarch goes, the patriarch's not for, let's go inside and let's feel about this before we act on it. that is why it's our time. It would be very different, right? If it was, we'd be in a very different situation. But it is in Hopi prophecies all way back when, and we all know it. It is our time. It is the woman's time. It is the heart time. It's the feeling time. It's the respect time. It's the unifying time instead of the separation time. And I feel that it's imperative in order for us to really do our part, that the surrender part of it, and we don't just assume like the patriarch has. I feel that's been the big pitfall. And maybe, who knows? It wasn't designed by me. This has all been designed, and it was designed with free will. It is what it is. I only know that for me, before I presume that something is my part, I ask, and I'm dedicated to listening, and I go forth as if. And as I go forth, if I'm out of alignment, I ask. If I'm out of alignment anyway in speaking my truth and honoring ancient wisdom, give me a sign. Don't hurt me, but give me a clear sign. Give me a clear sign. And it works for most days of my life, as long as it keeps me positive, and because that's like my rock. You know, that's my rock, my rock. Outside, everything's crumbling, changing fast, and we know that.
Yeah, I'm losing you a little bit. I'm just going to look on Facebook and see if anyone who's watching can see if we're still if you're watching and you can comment, can you see Renya okay? Because she's dropping in a little bit and out for me. And I can hear, oh, you can probably hear that I'm looking at it on Facebook. So apologies for any delay. No, nobody's responding. Okay, well, we'll just continue. I would love to know.
Okay.
I'd love to talk a little bit about your art and the relationship of everything that you've been talking about with the creation of art and how that is for you in your life.
So I call myself a soul-inspired artist because it falls in line with what I just shared, that I am to live from the out, and it's my origin point. I feel it's where my original instructions came from, within. And so I believe that I must return to that well of my being often. And any art that I create comes from those visions again, or that surrender from within. So my soul-inspired art has taken many different shapes. For a while, storytelling, and I love that. And it was always a story given to me. It was not one that I wanted to. That I had. I guess you could call it spirit visitation, and I've learned to honor them, I've learned to surrender to them, because many years I talked myself out of, oh my gosh, I've never done that before, I can't do that. Or, and a good example is the Tree Sisters quilt. In the well of creativity, that invitation went out, and I've never quilted in my life. And I had several projects going in other things and a timeline them. And I woke up one morning and I said, okay, you know, the outer world told me, you have a timeline, you need to go do that, you know, those projects. And yet there was this deep inner calling that I'm to make a career. And I surrendered to it. And like I said, I had no idea how to do it. I didn't know if I had any materials. I live far away from any town that carries material or anything like that. So it was a perfect example of, I could have talked myself out of it. But in that moment when that invitation went out, again, I felt it so strong in me. I felt that I was being called, and I showed up. And the calling was, you know, if you did and it's not accepted for whatever reason, because it doesn't fit in, you at least, and I think that's what it's about. It's about showing up where we are called, when we are called, and how we are called. And so I'm trying my best to do that in every day of my life. And so I made the quilt square, and it was amazing. And when I surrendered, I saw the vision. I did my best to bring it into form. I got messages as I was creating it. And for me, it's always the message of the inner listening, you know. This quilt square has a message that's carrying. And that was so humbling. And then I had so much fun. I made a second one. And that was amazing to me. And it was, again, I could have talked myself out of it and said, no, I got to go do this instead. Or I don't feel like I'm capable of that. And I give credit to my sister my tree sister Barbara Donahue, who's spearheading that project, I believe. And she's one of those, you know, she makes anything out of anything, you know, just up to the plate. Here I am. And I feel like the more we sisters cooperate that way, and we join each other and uplift one another, empower one another, that's another reason why I'm a tree sister. And it's global. I mean, this is it. We're the ones that we've been waiting for. Dalai Lama said it, you know, and it's like, this is it. And recently hearing Claire's story about how Tree Sisters began, that did it for me. It was like, talk about surrender and receiving powerful spirit message. This is what you're to do. She could have talked herself out of it too. She explains that she didn't have tools for it or didn't feel she did, but she jumped in. And cauldron of potential right now, we're being asked to jump in. There's no time not to. And we have to live with it if we don't.
Yeah.
You know?
And for anybody watching,
I mean, it's strong.
Who doesn't know, the Tree Sisters quilt is an incredible artistic project which was born from the Tree Sisters community of women all around the world making a quilted square to be made into a big quilt. And I find the whole project completely captivating. You know, my heart is just like, oh, I want to see that, you know, and I want to see all these pieces of handmade, you know, fabric from all around the world sewn together into one piece. It's very symbolic of what's possible at this time if we can give our creativity and our heart to things. So yeah, for anyone who wanted to know what that's about, that's what that is. Hopefully, I know it's being made up right now by some wonderful quilting women. Yeah. I think we might wrap up because of the internet trouble. Thank you so much for being with us, Renya. It's been really lovely to share this time with you. And thank you to everyone who's been watching, and thank you for bearing with our internet dramas. And if you have enjoyed this conversation, we will have more. There's another one in 2 weeks. We're doing them fortnightly. They're usually on a Wednesday or a Tuesday if you're in the US. And we'd really love you to join us for those. And if you would love to step in and support Tree Sisters to do our reforestation work in the tropics, we would really love to have you with us. If you'd like to donate, you can go to treesisters.org/donate, or you can come and join us in our online community, The Nest, which is free to join. Just Google Tree Sisters Nest and come and join us in there. We've got a wonderful, flourishing community. So thank you so much again, Renya, for being with us. And to everyone else, we'll see you really soon. Thank you.